Hi, I'm Steve Adelman. This is Adelman on Venues. For a special Adelman on Venues, which I suspect is going to turn into a series, I'm going to follow up and address in greater detail some legal issues that people have asked me about during the many webinars and video conferences that I've been giving recently since we introduced the Event Safety Alliance reopening guide on May 11. So with that, I'm going to start the series that I'm calling, let's see, let's do it from the beginning so that you can see. Ask Steve. So that's the series. I'm going to pose a question which has been asked of me many times, and then I'm going to give you a legally correct answer to that question. So if you are an event professional, you've probably run across the questions that I'm going to address in this Ask Steve series, starting with this one. So the question is, some people claim that they have a right to come to my events and not wear a mask or comply with social distancing. Is there such a right? As you know, this young woman seems to expect that there is. So is there such a right to not wear a mask, not comply with social distancing? Is there? No, there's not. No, hell no. No, it's dumb. It's wrong. It's just not true. Anybody who asserts that they have a right to come to your venue and break your rules, no, they are wrong. So let's just get it out there right now. I'm trying not to be, ambiguous about this. No, they're wrong. There is not such a liberty interest. Now I'm going to tell you why, so that if someone challenges you, you're ready to give them a legally correct answer. So here we go. The legal concept that we're talking about right now is a business invitee. And I gave you all the words on the screen so that even if you don't want to have the audio track going, you can just look at what's here. And this is a legally correct statement. So when you invite someone to a venue, an event, their status as a matter of law is called that they are a business invitee, meaning you have invited them, but you haven't just given them a blanket invitation. Rather, your invitation comes with conditions. And you can insist these conditions be complied with in exchange for them getting to enjoy whatever event it is that you're hosting. So someone is an invitee, but their invitation is conditional. They have to comply with your rules. And that's just the way it works. That's what a business invitee is. Their invitation has strings attached. Now, this is a concept that you're familiar with. I have this goofy image of no shoes, no shirt, no service. You know that you can condition your invitation because we've always lived with that. All of us grew up knowing that there were conditions on our invitation. So let me just prove it to you from pictures that I've taken, and they're in my own personal collection. So let's have some fun with this, starting with the dopey no shoes, no shirt, no service. I want to drink, and I'm 16 years old. I insist that I have a liberty interest in doing that. No, you don't. You don't. We post signs about that, and you have to present an ID, and you have to be of a certain age. And no, there is no such liberty interest in drinking whatever, whenever, however you want. I want to bring my own drugs. No, you don't have a liberty interest in that either. To the contrary, in many places, whatever drug it is that you might want, it would be illegal, and that would yield a bad consequence for you. You cannot insist on a liberty interest to bring your drugs. How about activities? I want to mosh. I want to surf. Is that a liberty interest? No, it's not. And if you read the wording at the bottom, please follow guidelines to prevent being ejected. Yes, being ejected. That actually is the consequence of choice. So can you mosh or surf if those are prohibited activities? No, you can't. How about, wow, there are actually a lot of things that we can prohibit. And you know this. You're used to this. I've got other pictures just like these because I collect this stuff. These are my pictures just from Steve walking around. Doubtless you have seen or posted signs like this yourself. So the idea that your invitation to your invitees is conditioned on compliance with various rules is something that you know intuitively. You didn't need to ask me. I'm just giving you the legal framework for an answer that you already know. Now, where do I get the authority to establish these rules? Well, it depends. There's a good lawyer's answer. It depends on whether you're in a public place or a private place. If you are in a private venue or event space and it is operated privately, then you make the rules. Congratulations, you're king, and you get to decide, can people bring their own alcohol? Some places are BYO, that's fine, but mostly they're not, and you can prohibit people from bringing their personal flask. You get to make the rules if you are a private venue because you are the authority. If, by contrast, we're talking about a public place, an event at a park, well, we know that there are rules there too. I found another sign, curb your dog, or there'll be a fine. For public spaces, the authority isn't you, even if you're operating an event there, rather it's the local officials. And if there's a regulation or a law, then those are the rules of engagement. So in private spaces, you're the king, and in public spaces, it is whatever local public health or public safety officials are the authorities having jurisdiction. So there's another term for you to know. Now, the follow-up question is, well, what if somebody complies to get in? And that's a good start, but then once they're inside the venue, then all hell breaks loose and they stop complying with social distancing and they take off their face covering and they're just doing dumb stuff. What can I do then? Well, there's a good answer to that also. This is just all good stuff. The legal concept is trespass, and it actually is a legal change in the business invitee's status if they decline to continue complying with your rules. So all those rules that you're allowed to make or that your municipality is allowed to create and enforce, those are all conditions which, if an invitee stops complying with them, then their legal status actually changes from an invitee to someone whose invitation is no longer in force. It has been revoked, and someone whose invitation has been revoked legally becomes a trespasser. And that's an actual legal status. And a trespasser does not actually have a legal right to remain on the premises. And this is why when someone is ejected, we call it trespassing them off the property. That's a completely accurate and correct use of a legal term, a real legal term that you've been using all along. So when somebody does not comply with your rules, you trespass them off the property. You find a nice security guard like one of these guys, who were terrific, by the way, and you ask them, hey, that person is endangering the health and safety of people around us, and they're violating our rules, which were posted on our website, signage, all over the place. They knew because we told them, and we reminded them when they first started to not comply, and we noticed, and now they've just shown that they're going to be a menace to themselves and other people. That's not acceptable. We are revoking their invitation. That turns them into a trespasser. Please do with this trespasser what one does, which is trespass them off the property. So let's just tie a bow around this because I want to make sure you get this, because this is important. This is how we're going to get through the next year or however long it's going to be until there's a vaccine, but we're going to be open anyway. So again, the question is, does one have a liberty interest in violating the conditions of their invitation? No, they don't. No. Got it? No, it's just not. No. This is true everywhere, private and public spaces, all the time, and it is definitely true during a global pandemic. So if somebody, busts out some liberty argument and they say, oh, there's a liberty, no, you bust out this, because that is the correct legal answer. That's what you say. So now you know why the things that you intuitively knew anyway, you can make rules and you can enforce rules, and you enforce them by trespassing someone off the property. Now you know the legal reasons that you can do those things, because someone gets their legal status transferred by their own actions from being a business invitee to being a mere trespasser. And so that's why you can do the things that you want to do to protect health and safety. So there, simple slide deck to address a question that I'm asked all the time, and I hope that that helps. If you have further questions, reach out to me, sadelman@adelmanlawgroup.com. Glad to answer them, because, well, what else do I have to do with my time these days? Anyway, I'm Steve Adelman. I hope that that was useful. This is Adelman on Venues. Thanks very much.